Hello. Oh, hello, everyone. Happy Moon Day. Hello, love. Hello, Shad Bricks. Oh, so good to be here again. What an interesting week it's been. I'm really excited for today. This is going to be a great share. I can already feel it. I felt just a lot of energy, a lot of messages coming in, especially just straight last night. It made me like so excited to come on here and share all these things. So just want to confirm that you guys can hear me, that you can see me, that everything is good technologically. If somebody can let me know that you can hear me, everything is good, I would appreciate that. Yay! Everyone can hear me. All right, beautiful ones. Well, thank you, Art of Arts, beautiful sister Stinson. Yes, this is, people call it juice harp or a jaw harp. It has a lot of different names. This is a very ancient instrument, really beautiful. You can find it Aboriginals on all continents. You can find these shamanic instruments. So if you want to, as usual, take a moment to breathe, to get present, to set any intentions. Now is a good time. Calling in your higher self, calling in all of our beautiful, benevolent angels and guides, Divine Mother, Divine Father, Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, archangels, magical creatures, that the most beautiful messages may be received today in the most beautiful timing. How is everyone doing? How are you guys doing? I would love to know before we get started. How has your weekend been? Your week been? Interesting. There we go. Mine has been pretty beautiful. I got a lot to share, as you know. As you can probably see, these past 2 weeks for me have been really, really intense. I definitely feel like I went deep into the shadows. I would say, I was kind of explaining that. Just lots of emotions coming up for me, lots of purging. Honestly, and maybe some people can relate to this, is feeling like sometimes I definitely feel this. Sometimes we go into like these like lower timelines, and it really feels like it is a beautiful experience, but also it's an act of service, because going into these lower timelines, and then when you're able to again transform and rise up again out of them, you're able to do that not just for yourself, but for all those around you, for all of the collective, anyone who may be going through similar things that you're going through, whether they're connected to you somehow, or even if you don't even know them. you know we're all connected energetically, so even when you're able, I talk about this a lot, to go through something dense, maybe an emotional thing, a mental thing, or a physical happening, whatever it is, when you're able to go through something like that, and then you're able to literally, it's a lot of work, it really is, going through like these um, heavy emotions, or like these heavy dense experiences. Like I said, I just went through something like this, where I felt like, I was joking to my friend, like I got like the low timeline virus, because I felt like just, I I am, like many of us, we're veterans here. I'm not discouraged by that, but for almost 2 weeks, I'm just like, man, I just feel so dense. There's just so much going on around me, really heavy stuff. So it's really powerful when we're able to, again, full on go through that experience and then be able to, like the phoenix, rise up out of it again and again and again. I know it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it because, again, I know personally I really can feel that not only was a beneficial experience for me ultimately, but that it really does help all those, because that's, for me, again, I feel like today we're going to be talking a lot about the mission. For me, that's a big reason of why I'm even here, and I think that's true for all of us here. So it really is such a great act of service. And what's so beautiful as well is even going through those low spots, then again coming back up, it's just so it's so beautiful. It just makes me so grateful for all these experiences. And when all the lessons, the wisdom, the strength, and the knowledge starts pouring in, then it's like, so I know sometimes when you're going through these things, it's like, man, why? It doesn't make sense in the moment all the time. But then, you just have to keep trusting and going and surrendering to your higher self. And then once um, when you get to a certain point, everything just makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, I really did have to go through all of that, um, to learn what I needed to learn there. And the more we can learn, I feel like the more wisdom and strength we can collect, the easier things, I don't know if easy is the right word, but the smoother things really are. The more we can, because so much of our suffering, and I feel like, is in the reaction, the reaction to things. So I feel like when we're able to really kind of, in a way, surrender and rest, even through the negativity sometimes, a lot of times when we're able to come into who we really are and really be comfortable with those uncomfortable moments, it's pretty incredible what we're able to experience. So, anyways, um, where to even begin with this? So, what did I call this again? Embracing all that you are. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Embracing all that you are. I think years ago, I made a video called Being Who You Truly Are is the greatest act of service that you can do, something like that. And I'm really revisiting that on a deeper level. Being all that you are. This is going to be really, really powerful. At least it was for me. Powerful, deep reminder. Being all that you are truly is the greatest act of service that you can give humanity and yourself, of course. And I want to go deeper into that because that's something that I feel like we can see. I feel like that's something that we hear, or something that maybe has, in a way, lost its meaning. It sounds cliche almost, but something that's so interesting to me is that the more I see AI and like, again, like all of this, like technological stuff that we're starting to see, especially, I'm talking about stuff in like this with the transhumanism. um, we're already starting to see it. And if you know me, you know how I feel about this stuff. You can already, at least for me, see, like, I feel like I'm gonna have to make a whole video on this one day, but like the it's so crazy when you look at that chain of energy with the AI. You can already start to see, um, I want to just be candid and say, like, the horrendous potential that it already has. AI replacing the human soul. I know it sounds so dramatic. Like, I feel like you guys get what I'm saying, but for some people, like, it's so dramatic. I don't know. That's a whole tangent for another time. I just think that a lot of people that I see are way too naive and arrogant when it comes to the AI, because the AI is, it's not harmless fun. I've talked about that before. Not only does it have, spiritual consequences when you start entangling with the AI, but it's, I guess, like, what I'm trying to really get to is the seeing this potential already, literally right now, it's already happening, where the AI is like, it's setting itself up to start replacing humanness. And again, at this point, maybe you can say it's harmless. But when you look at the chain of energy and the potential and ultimately the true agenda of what is behind the AI, that's when things get really trippy. It's really trippy times, you guys. It's really, really wild. So, anyways, the more I see this stuff coming out, okay, so let me just give a few examples. It's so crazy because, again, reminder, if you haven't heard me talk about this before, the thing you have that is so important to remember about the AI, as far as what we're seeing start to unfold with the AI, like the computers, or these AI filters, or all these AI tools and apps, chats, whatever. We're starting to see this stuff come out. What's crazy about it is it all also mirrors the literal artificial matrix that we're in. That is enough reason alone that you should be really, really weary of the AI. People are way, way too comfortable with the AI from what I see. It really blows my mind. Anyways, again, that's kind of a story for another time. I've talked about that before. So the more I see this AI, though, it's so nefarious to me. Like, that's all I can see, because I can see how um, what it's going to do to people. So let me just give you a few examples of this, and this is connected to what I'm talking about. Um, okay, so let me give like the first two examples that I feel like are coming up really strongly for what I'm seeing. So the first one, we've already started to see this, AI filters on pictures. This is a thing that's starting to come out. Basically, in a weird thing, and I really invite everyone to like ponder upon this for yourself, like, because I could literally talk about this for hours. So really think about these things and like start to ponder them for yourselves, because it may seem I know I'm all over the place, but it's also connected. So um it's really wild to see, like, the more I observe the AI, the more when I look back at like all the social engineering and like subversion of humanity, the more it's like it all starts to make sense even more in a deeper light. That's pretty wild to me. So, with all these, so that's an example, is like filters and like just this artificialness, like these filters that come out. And I guess it's for men and women, but it's probably especially for women. I don't know at this point, but these filters, if you don't know what a filter is, it's like you go to take a picture of yourself, and instead of like just your face, it's like your face, but like automatically, like the AI has like generated these certain specific features to make you look perfect. Whatever the hell perfect is to like whoever, this artificial soulless thing that is literally trying to suck people's souls. I'm so serious. It's crazy. But anyways, so there's like these filters, these AI filters. I just recently saw that, where, like, I don't know, like they make you look like we got Botox and plastic surgery and perfect skin and certain eyes and makeup and eyebrows and hair, whatever, to make you look perfect, right? Another example would be in music. Um, this is so crazy to me. As you guys know, I'm working on an album. I'm really, really excited. That should be coming out. I'm not sure exactly yet, but in the next couple months for sure. So this is another weird thing that I'm realizing. And I feel like, again, I already knew this, but it's just sinking in on a deeper level. Almost all the music we hear, it's like, I guess it's just so, everything just seems like so artificial to me. So it's like almost all the music we hear, at least like mainstream, like recorded stuff, is so um, edited. Like everything is so edited to sound perfect. And I am getting to a point here. Like I am getting to a point here. Um, because it's just like, to me, it's getting so ridiculous and out of hand how artificial and fake everything is becoming. You know what I mean? And I'm not, yeah, like auto tune. That's what I'm talking about. Like auto tune. Like, it's not even people. Like, this is my point with a lot of mainstream music. It's kind of eerie that we're not even hearing real voices anymore at all, almost. Not talking about necessarily like indie musicians and stuff like that, but it's just like, for me, when I look at this chain of energy, it's really this subversion, this social engineering of trying to turn people into robots. It's like literally trying to turn people into robots. And this is like the biggest point I want to make is like, this part, like, I feel like a lot of like this crazy social engineering that we've all been receiving is so much trying to turn us into robots. And it's really preying on either people's pride or people's insecurity or both. Like, it's preying on people feeling weird about just being human and like having natural human traits, like human quirks, not being perfect, not looking perfect, having normal skin, like having a normal face, a normal voice, like a human, like humanness. You guys get what I'm saying? Do you guys see how nefarious like this is? Like, because I can see the line of energy like already, where it's already a thing. It's like they're literally, it's like, I don't know. It's so hard to um articulate right now like what I'm trying to say. But again, I really encourage everyone to like ponder on this for themselves and see where this is going. Because again, just to get to the heart of what I'm trying to say, these are just two examples, but it's like this in like every single industry that I can imagine. Everything is like, that's the problem with this AI, because this AI is more than what people think. People are so naive to if they think that like AI is just what humans make of it. Like, it's its own soulless like force. And I'm not trying to sound fringe. It's just like, I just think this is so important to understand, because you can already see, because the thing about the AI and anything like demonic like this is, it's like, it has no power unless you give it power. But if you give it power, it can literally just like puppeteer you into like another reality, literally. You know what I mean? It's like this AI, it's like you can almost see like when you look back in retrospect, yeah, like dehumanization, truly. Like, it's literally trying to make people robots in every single way. This is literally where we're going. Like, this is the negative side of like what's kind of like unfolding right now. This is the most crazy thing that I'm seeing, is like this AI, um like, and so many people that I guess are kind of like not really seeing the big picture, in my opinion, just kind of like falling into like, again, it's kind of the same what it's always been, where we're like, um it's artificial, it's not real. Like, we are divine beings, we are children of God, we are meant to be unique, we are meant to be different. We're not meant to all conform to this robotic standard. It's so nefarious because you have no, it has no soul. So I guess, like, let me go back to like the music example, because like I said, I'm making an album and there's no judgment for using autotune. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not what I'm talking about, but I'm just saying like it's getting to this point where the more you like edit the who you are authentically, it's like, to me, it's like the more you're straying from like your authenticity, like the more you're straying from your soul, the more you're straying from like our divine innate power, and you're giving it away to this artificial thing because it sounds better. But does it really? To me, it doesn't. I want to hear, this is the heart of what I'm trying to get to, is like, I feel like more and more, like the more I look at this AI and all this fake stuff that is so gross, it's so repulsive to me. Like, trying to look, everybody trying to look perfect to the point where they're using AI and they're literally getting like surgery after surgery. Like, this is not the world I want to live in. It's literally, it's insanity and it's mind control to try to like turn everybody into a robot, into like the same thing. Uh Sounding the same way. Everybody sounds the same way. Everybody fits into this perfect standard. Like, to me, that is like the most evil thing I can imagine, because everyone's meant to be different. And it's like the level of programming. I feel like, especially with the younger generation, I know like most people watching this are probably, around my age or older mostly, but like, especially with the younger generation, they don't have like this experience that we have, like before the internet took over. Like, they're gonna literally be born into this fake, like there's already, like being born into like this fake reality. Like, it's so crazy to me. I don't know how, I don't even know, like it's just, wow, I don't know. But anyways, let me get to my point. So this, going full circle, is just, I just want to really make this point again, that being who you truly are is truly the greatest gift that you can be. And that means being authentic. That means literally being who you are, embracing your flaws. Because this is what I'm trying to say, is like, all these things that make you a human being is actually what makes you beautiful. We've been programmed to be ashamed of these things. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I don't look perfect. Oh, I don't sound perfect. I don't present myself perfectly. It's all a fucking lie. Nobody even looks like that or sounds like that. You know what I mean? Or like, it's just so synthetic. And for me personally, that's when I see that being who you truly are is the greatest act of rebellion. And I don't mean, when I say rebellion, I mean like real, like rebellion from like the satanic mind control that wants us to be fake. It's this fake self. The AI, to me, is as a physical manifestation of these complete art fake. It's like it's such a, it just seems like, to me, I don't know, maybe I don't think I'm being extreme, but it just seems like a nightmare to me. It really is. It's like a nightmare materialized with like this artificial matrix. Okay. I hope I'm doing a good job at explaining this. It was all coming in, and then it was like, now I feel like I'm like, I don't even know where to begin with this. But anyways, that's my point. This is the biggest point that I just want to drive home, because I know for so many of us, and I think a lot of us have grown a lot past this programming, but it's so deep that I think, we all come and have challenges sometimes with like feeling worthy or feeling weird or whatever the case may be. And more though, I'm starting to see so clearly that us being who we really are, all of our humanness, all of our originality, all of our uniqueness, not conforming to this artificial bullshit that's completely fake. It's not, like, it's not helpful. Like, this fake stuff that we put up, I just say we as humanity, whatever it is, I don't think it's like helpful, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because it's actually you being who you are, all of you authentically in your heart, however that manifests for you, being who you truly are, not who you think you need to be. You know what I mean? Because I just feel like we're seeing so much of that being revealed right now, all over. And that's another thing I want to talk about in a second. So just remember that. Don't be ashamed of your weirdness. Don't be ashamed of your uniqueness at all. It's literally such a gift. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. Because this, like, when you look at the extremities of this AI artificial reality that they're trying to literally immerse people in, where everything is fake, but it's perfect, and it's not perfect, but it's like synthetically engineered to fit the standard that humanity is literally being programmed into thinking is perfect, but it's not divine or perfect at all. The more you see that, the more I see that, the more I'm like, oh no, like, that's not the timeline we want to go down. Like, and so that's when being who you truly are, every single part of you, however you want to truly express yourself from your heart, no matter how different, how unique it looks, how unique it sounds, how unique it feels, if it's truly coming from your heart, we need that more than anything. We really, really, really need that. And I just know there's so many people who think they're not good enough. They think that it's not time yet. They think that their voice doesn't matter. They think that what they have to say or do isn't that important. It's so important. We need you so much because we need real human beings. Like, we need human souls. It's not what we've been taught. You don't need to look super pretty. Like, you don't need to look this super fake way. I'm just using these as examples, but it's like this across the board. Like, you don't need to, like, everything is just so artificial and fake. Like, the more you start to observe it, the more you start to see what the hell is starting to develop here, like the shadow of what's like developing here, of this like weird and it's not new. It's like we've been subverted into like this way of thinking for a long time, this social conditioning for a long time. But now it's so blatant, it's getting so extreme. The more you can see it, the more you understand what I'm saying, that being who you truly are, again, all of you, we need you. We need you so much. We don't need all these fake presentations of what people think. It's like even on YouTube, as an example, it's like I feel like people are still trying to conform to like this old social standard of like what people want, kind of trying to emulate Hollywood or trying to emulate these systems that are literally just artificial. They're synthetic. They're not real. They're not celebrating God. They're not celebrating human uniqueness. They're not celebrating the soul. It's just like totally inverted, a lot of it. So, our greatest rebellion against that, which may look pretty, but may actually be something extremely nefarious, use your own discernment when you're looking at things. Our greatest rebellion against that system of control and enslavement, it disgusts me. That's why I'm so passionate about this right now, because I just see it so clearly right now. It's like what they're trying, like that, like this agenda to try to put everybody in this like, to me that's the most disgusting thing I can imagine, like to conform people into robots. Literally, I would rather die than that. Like, that is worse than death. Like, that is like, that's enslavement. That's not, but that's not even like in shackles, physical shackles enslavement. That's literally full on mind control at that point. And that's what it wants. That's the agenda that it's being used for. So that's why I'm not taking the AI lightly in any case, because you don't know how it's going to be used down the road. So anyways, so really I just want to emphasize that so much. I really hope that you guys can feel what I'm saying here. It's like, you're who you are. No filter. No filter. No filter. Everything you are is not only good enough, but sacred and divine. And the whole fact that people have it so twisted into thinking they should be more something else than what they really are, that is literally inverted. That is literally satanic. No, um, yeah, just like, that's it. That's it. Because it's like it's been kind of subtle, but when you see what really is unfolding and the blatancy of what the whole agenda is actually about, you'll know what I'm saying. And it just puts everything in such a clear perspective, and for me that feels really good, because again, it's like for many of us, for all of us really, depending on like how, however your experience has been, though, I know that they have just this artificial matrix, since we were born into it, has just programmed us to feel inadequate, to feel like we're not enough, to feel like we need to be something else. And the more I see like this agenda and this AI and this transhumanism and this turning people into soulless robots, the more I'm like, oh no, truly, we need organic human people, like being who we are, expressing ourselves, expressing our voices. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be this standard. It doesn't have to be anything like all this stuff from the past. But like, I'm just saying, like, we really need organic people to come forward and use their voices, whether it's in a video like this, whether it's in art, in music, and whatever your interests and passions are in your what was I gonna say? I don't know. Whatever your gifts are, whatever your expressions are, this is like a call to action once again. It's like, don't be falling for like this illusion that I'm not good enough yet, because maybe you're comparing yourself to something that it's like, no, like just be you. Just be you. You. All that you are is perfect. Don't be ashamed about it. It's literally what we need. We need organic human beings, not this crazy fake stuff that is like just about to get so out of hand. I can just see it so clearly. And just to kind of touch on this, it's like I feel like this, starting to kind of see, I definitely, I think astrology is a beautiful tool to understand the cycles um, that we're in. And I think like with Pluto going in Aquarius, that's going to be like the dark side of like all this stuff that we're going to be seeing. And I'm not saying this in a fear-based way at all. I'm not saying, I just think it's something we have to be aware of. That's obviously the only point I share that. Um, because that is kind of the dark side of that is like the things that they're gonna try to do with the AI is literally gonna be nuts. I already know it. You know what I mean? It's just very, for me, it's very intuitive. So just be so careful on that, because it seems like there's so many people, um, even very spiritual people. It blows my mind that, and it's not. I'm not saying this in a judgmental way at all, but there's so many people that I'm honestly surprised that are just like not seeing the immense horror potential of the AI, because we're only in the very beginning stages. I don't know. I just want to put that out there. So just like as something to be aware of, like I really don't recommend getting entangled with the AI at all, because I really do, it's so trippy and quantum. It's honestly, if I'm being fully honest, it's almost beyond it is beyond my comprehension of like the layers and the levels of like quantum fuckery that is like going on with the AI. But I am aware enough to know that it's there, and that it's literally beyond what most people can imagine, including myself. It's like it's so beyond what people think it could even happen. Like it's so, and that's why people who work with AI, you know, I don't know what to think about some of these characters, but even the people like Elon Musk that work with AI are literally saying basically the same thing. Like the levels of the horror that the AI can create is beyond what most people can even understand at all. You know. So, anyways, that's just what I want to say about the AI. But that's what's interesting. Again, I'm not obviously trying to cause fear, but to me, it's kind of, the more I see the darkness, the more I see the corruption and like the um, artificial stuff here. It's like, for me, that helps me. It motivates me in a way, because it's like, okay, I'm not going to be complacent. It also shines a light on that darkness, and if everybody who's here, you're like me, you want to understand the darkness, not to get consumed by it, not to get uh carried away by it, but so that way you can literally transform it. And we need that. I think people like us, people like this, are people truly on like the front lines, because it's not easy to like, whether it's learning about this stuff or navigating like this level of density, it's definitely not an easy task. But again, it's such a worthwhile task, not just for ourselves in our own evolution, but for all of humanity. You know what I mean? Because it's like, just again, our observation, looking at that nitty and the gritty, and being able to start to work it out in our own lives, in our own minds. Don't underestimate how powerful that is for the whole collective, because there's a lot of souls, for whatever reason, they either won't go there or they actually can't go there. So if you can go there, again, you never want to get carried into it, you never want to get sucked into it, but if you can be a witness to it and shine your light upon it, I think that is the true gold that many of us are here to do. So, yeah, that's nuts. And the last thing I will say about the AI, again, I'm gonna have to make a whole like video about this one day, but it's more than what people think, because again, the AI, from what I have found, really is an archaic force that is beyond. It's not just, people think it's just new, that it's computers, but it's actually like an ancient force that's responsible for, you don't have to call it AI. There's other names for it, but it's just this artificial soulless force that's actually responsible for like why the earth is so been so fucked up in the first place, in a way, But I've talked about that before. That's our history. That's a long story, but it is something I'd say it's good to understand and meditate upon. But But you can, I just want to know, I guess another thing that's coming up is like the way that this synthetic, this artificial force, it's always trying to like mock God, but it's always trying to like mock the divine, but it doesn't have God source energy in it, and that's the inherent problem. Like people want to just gloss over that. No, like that's a huge problem, because if you don't have God force energy within you, you're gonna be a parasite. You know what I mean? And that's why people. That's why these things that rebel from God, they separate themselves, try to separate themselves from God, and they go so crazy. They have to parasite off of organic life forms. Again, talked about this before, but the whole point I want to make on that is they have no power unless you give it to them. You know, whether you want to talk about this AI or the demons, you guys got to understand there's different names. It's like another thing I want to talk about today is like uniting, uniting amongst each other. And again, just a reminder that like it's like there's so many different names for like all of these different things, and there's everything is so. That's another thing about this age we're going into is like I've said before, it's like we're on the high seas of information. So there's so much information, and it's literally like a quantum sea of information where like I don't know how to explain it. It's really really trippy. Like there's a lot of perspectives and realities and truths like kind of all just like flowing together. I don't know. It's again, I'm being honest, like a lot of this stuff is still beyond my being able to fathom it, but I can kind of start to see it, and I'm like, wow. Um, yeah, the field. So what was I going to say on that? Oh yeah, I was just saying how it's like this artificial, these demonic things or whatever. They're always trying to like copy, like God's creation, but they don't. If they don't have this, if they separate themselves from like God force energy, then they can't do it. They just can't do it. So then seeing like this AI stuff, this is almost like the peak manifestation of what they've always been doing for hundreds, thousands of years. Time is hard to understand because we've been lied to about almost all of our history and time frames. But this is like literally getting to this is a peak manifestation of the core of the evil that we're literally cleaning up and dealing with. It's literally, so that's why I'm saying when you start to observe what's manifesting with the AI physically now, um, observe it from this perspective, you can literally start to see all the fractals, all the fractal truths of what's already been going on for thousands of years. But now we're getting to this point where it's physically being revealed. You know what I mean? Um, even if you've ever had, for example, like dreams, because I know I've had this and I know other people have talked about this. For example, and it could also be visions, but for example, you have like dreams sometimes where, um, again, AI, demons, archons, whatever you want to call them, will try to pose as somebody else, as somebody um, or maybe as a guide or something like that. And I'm not trying to be creepy here, but I don't know why this is just coming up. Again, they try to like mask. They mask themselves. They try to like pretend to be something else, but you can actually, if you are discerning, if you have heart discernment and you know what I'm talking about, you can see that it's not real. You can, I've had this happen in my dreams. You can see it and you can start to feel it. Like you can feel the syntheticness, you can feel the artificiality, you can feel the lack of God source, you can feel that it's not real. So that's just something to be aware of. And I do want to share this dream I had because this is all relevant. Yeah, I know people have had that. Like, I guess, okay, let me just like elaborate on that a little bit more. Like the crazy stuff, you guys, really crazy shit. Like, I'll just share one example. It's like, I know someone who had a dream about someone who was their, it was posing as their friend, and like this horrible, dark, stuff happened in their dream because it was like infringing upon their dream time. And how to explain it? And then she said that like this person, their arm was like a spring. It was like a spring, and then they turned into like a cardboard cutout and literally fell over at the end of the dream. That is exactly what I'm trying to say about like this artificial stuff. This artificial stuff, it's like it tries to emulate real stuff, and it can be very convincing illusion, but ultimately it cannot hold up to what is real and organic. But it will try to manipulate you. So that's why you have to be so careful, because literally you guys, and again, to me, in a way, it's again not causing fear, it's just activating. It's just kind of even exciting, because it's like, if we're not on the most exciting times on earth, I don't know what is. If we're not at the most exciting catalyzing times on earth, then I don't know what is. When we're literally about to see everything get so interdimensional. I'm telling you guys, I don't like to make predictions about the future, but that is something I can tell you for sure. It's like this is about to, especially for those of us who can see, this is about to get so interdimensionally wild. So it's certainly not boring, and we're being trained for it. We really are being trained for it. You know, everything that we've been learning, everything that we've been experiencing is all preparing us for this time. So that's why no fear. And the last thing I was going to say now about that is, um so I had a dream last night. I want to share this dream. And this is again why I tell people always shield. It's so important to shield, to surround yourself in love light, surround yourself in love light force fields. We don't consent to infringement from negative energies or entities or technologies or AI. We don't consent to any of that. I do that every day, twice a day. I've talked about that before. um, because then you don't have to worry about these things infringing upon you in your life or in dream time, because dream time is very sacred, and these things will try to get into your dream time, and you do not want them in your dream time. Okay, but anyways, so I had this dream last night because all these like revelations were like pouring in last night for me, just like deeper realizations. So in my dream, I was talking to someone about how I was talking basically about this stuff. I was talking in my dream about how these archons, these entities, these demons, whatever you want to call them, how if you like, if you if you get tricked by them, if you allow them to, they will literally puppeteer you to no end. Like they will just literally puppeteer you to no end. It's insane. But if you face them, if you stand in your God source innate energy and you face them head on, they will run shitless. They are terrified of you. You have to understand that. They are terrified of you. Totally terrified. Because when you're standing in your power and you understand what I'm saying, there's nothing they can do. That's the truth. That's why, again, we talked about this before, but it's like learning on and seeing on deeper and deeper levels. That's why they're masters of manipulation, because when they're masters of manipulation. When they can get in your head and manipulate you, there's no limit to the kind of fuckery that they can get you to do. You know, that's what we're witnessing, people doing this crazy shit. That's what we're seeing. It's a spiritual affliction. It's not mental illness. It's demons. It's, when you understand this stuff, that's what that is. It's literally, it's a spiritual affliction. They got demons in their head telling them to do stuff, and they're not able to like discern that. You know, we're not given spiritual knowledge. Most of us, almost all of us, we're not given spiritual knowledge, so people don't understand this stuff, and they think it's just like mental illness. And you know, we're going to see a lot of that stuff. We're already seeing it. That's what I mean. Everything's getting so quantum and spiritual in every way. Obviously, there's so much positivity and love and light, and we're going to end on that note. But again, we're kind of delving into the shadow right now. You know, just so we can understand it and be protected and be strong and be sovereign within it. Anyways, so yeah, so I was having this conversation in my dream about how, you know, like these things will, you know, will puppeteer you to no end if you let them. But if you look at them straight in their face, in their power, they will run shitless. And then in my dream, there, all of a sudden there's a door, and I open the door, and there's like an archon thing standing right there. I know this is so funny, it makes me laugh, but in my dream, I literally like, roar, like I just like roared like a lion, and not hatefully. I don't hate these things. We don't want to hate these things. We just have to understand what they are. I literally like roared I opened this door. After I said that, I opened this door and I like roared at this thing and it literally disappeared so fast. And then I just like closed the door, like so casually. Like it's so funny. That dream, so that's just like a perfect example of like what I'm trying to say. And what I've, been saying for a long time is like these things have no power unless you let them. But you have to understand they're so intelligent. And that's why people, not you guys, but some people and from what I see, I'm just kind of astounded by how naive people are to the AI, because the AI can literally outsmart most people. Horrible, I know, but it's kind of the truth. So, anyways, the only reason I say that is because that's all they can do, though. They want to outsmart you. They want to outsmart you. They want to trick you because they want to get in your head, because then they can puppeteer you, literally like a puppet. That's literally how they are. But as soon as you understand the game, they literally can't do anything to you. Do you understand that? You ever have an issue? I do not consent. I do not consent to that. You know what I mean? You can say whatever you need to say. Just make sure that you let them know very clear that no, they're not allowed here. This is a free will universe. Again, I've said before, they'll take anything as consent. So you have to say no. No, 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 I do not consent. It's just like people, honestly. It's just like narcissists. We've all had to deal with narcissists. Even if you, especially if you're a super empathic person, we've had to learn. You have to learn, again, the love, light, and fuck you too. You have to learn to have those boundaries. Doesn't matter how loving and caring and open hearted you are, you have to have those boundaries, because whether you're talking about narcissistic people or these narcissistic parasitic entities, if you don't have these boundaries, they will literally eat you alive. To be I'm not trying to be dramatic, but like these are just the times we're in. At least that's my experience. But it's not necessary. That's why I teach this. Like, all right, so we talk about the sovereignty. That's always the goal here. Sovereignty, 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 sovereignty. We have to be sovereign here. I think that, again, maybe it's just, I am very humble. I'm not saying I know how everything works, because like I said, I'm just beginning to be able to see the trippiest things I could ever imagine in my life. And I don't understand them. I really don't. But I'm just starting to see them, and it literally blows my mind. It blows my mind. But anyways, what I'm trying to say here is like, so that's why you have to have that ability to stand in your light and to stand in the darkness. To me, that's essential on earth. To me, I don't understand how anyone can skirt past that truth in this life. I think it's something that many of us on our ascension journey, if not all of us, are going to have to learn to some degree at least. Again, I think we're all here. We all have certain missions. Maybe for us, for a lot of us, we have to understand the darkness. Maybe for some, they're really more about just like anchoring in the light. I mean, we all are. We all have like our mission for being here, but I don't know how anyone can skirt by without understanding the importance of sacred boundaries and sovereignty, and the things that are going on in this matrix that you just have to be aware of. I mean, I don't know how people can live without being aware of this stuff. I don't know. It blows my mind. So what else? Yeah. So I guess on that note, the next thing I was going to segue into about like the trippiness of this reality that's unfolding. Something that honestly blows my mind, even though like I feel like we have seen this again. This is not new. This has been happening. But you guys, is it not so crazy how blatant everything is becoming? Everything is so blatant. Like, again, like we're still in the shadows here, right? We're still kind of talking about the shadows here, but we're going to come back into the light. But these evil agendas, these people, these puppets, these actors, these entities, everything, the Hollywood, the big pharma, the everything we're seeing, the government, the president, like all of it. It's so blatant. It's so blatant. Isn't it incredible how blatant it's getting? Just when you think it can't get any more blatant. I feel like we're literally going to get to this point where, like, if we're not already there, where like these people, it's already at that point. I think. I don't know what you guys think. I think we're actually already at that point, 100%, where these evil people whatever you want to call them, I'm just being candid, are literally telling humanity what they're doing to them. Almost completely straight up now. It used to be really symbolic and cryptic and hidden. It's all being revealed. Everything is being revealed. It's all so incredibly blatant. It blows my mind. So it's like, I just, again, I don't like to make predictions, but I think it is important to, like, one of the biggest things I've learned at a young age is to follow, like, energy chains. Whether it's in your own life or in the collective, you follow energy chains. It's just kind of, it's intuitive and it's logical. You just follow energy chains. So seeing all this stuff, what's going on now, to me, it's like we're literally, I think we're already there, like entering this time where it's everything is revealed and continuing to be revealed. Everything is so out in the open, it's insane. So with that said, I just want to remind, this is something that came to me, I just wanted to share a reminder. And again, use your heart discernment, because remember, the thing about, like, spirituality is, like, everything is always very much like a case by case scenario. A lot of times, like, when somebody's giving you advice like this or whatever, it's not necessarily like the only thing, because everything, you have to use case by case. But generally, what I'm saying is, don't give your power away to people who don't want to see the truth. I don't think that that's something that is helpful at all at this point. If people are genuinely curious, if people genuinely are open, are seeking truth, that's one thing. But for me, that's just something I was reminded of. If whether it's in person or online, it's like, it's like, don't give your power away to people who don't want to see the truth. It's such a waste of energy. You have such important things to be doing. Do not give your power away to people that don't want to see the truth, because it's like, that'll literally just drive you insane, I feel like, and it can be, like, so draining. um so yeah, just a reminder on that, because with everything getting so blatant, because I know in my mind, it's like, how could anyone not see the truth? And I think it comes down to, like, if people aren't going to see the truth for whatever reason, they don't want to see the truth. And we send them love, and we send them, you know so much love and grace, but we can't control people. um, you know, and I don't know. When it comes down to it, ultimately, I really do feel like most humans are going to seek the truth, you know, in their own way, in their own timing. I think most people are seeking the truth. But again, you can't control people. I think the most important thing that we can all do, truly, and I've said this before, but even more than ever, is to band together and unite with people who do want to seek the truth. That to me, that's where we should really be putting our energy. Again, this is like a round table right now for, like, the mission that we're on. To me, that's where the energy is, like, most effective. Again, our soul family, our soul friends, and if you don't have the people in your life like this, online or in person, you will soon. But, like, starting to come together with people who get it, because to get so triggered by people that don't want to see the truth, it's a waste of your energy. You know what I mean? At that point, resolve your trigger. Resolve your trigger, because that's on you. But you can't just give your energy to people anymore that don't want to see the truth, because they just don't want to see it. I mean, that's what I mean. I feel like we're already there, but we're gonna get to this point where everything is so out in the open. Like, when you look at it from this way, everything is gonna be so out in the open. So it really is gonna be a choice, and we can't control people. But what we can do is lead by example. And be the greatest version of ourselves. Lead by example. You have to really rise within yourself, within the community that you choose, and when you're that bright light, that's, to me, again, we come back to this truth, that's the greatest thing that we can do. Because at that point, maybe, people will see you and they'll be inspired by you, and that's the greatest thing I think that we can give people, you know Because other than that, if people don't want to see the truth, then they don't want to see the truth. You know, it's not worth getting so upset by, especially online. Because I will tell you, I know for a fact, if you don't know this, I will tell you this is 100% true. There are people, some are paid, some just, I don't know, I feel like some just do it for free. But there are 100% people that are paid to go online and literally blatantly like spread hatred and um, propaganda. I know that for a fact. I know that, like, I've literally seen it. Like, I know someone who's part of, like, whatever you would call it, like a plan like that. So that's a real thing in all kinds of different ways. Sleeper cells, whatever. There's people that do that. Um, so when you understand that, you're not going to waste your time arguing with random people on the internet. I'm not being paranoid and saying everybody's like that, but you would be surprised at how many people are like that. So when you see like weird comments on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, even if it's like a real person, it doesn't mean that it's like a real person. It very much could be like somebody who's part of some kind of like group, if you know what I'm saying. That's 100% true. I know that for sure. I wouldn't even say that if I didn't know that for sure, but I've literally seen it. It's crazy. So yeah, you don't want to waste too much energy and power just like going back and forth with people like that unless you truly feel in your heart that it's helping, you know. Um Again, case by case scenario, but generally that's how it goes. So let's see what else. I did make a list here. But yeah, that's just to end on that. Unite with people who do get it. We're entering the time where it's very important for us, I feel, to build and create and connect and support, giving support and receiving support, even if it's just emotional support. Don't underestimate how helpful that is. Start working with people who do get it. To me, that's the best possible use of your energy right now. Is to, of course, build up yourself and start building in, investing in, working with, however it is for you, really start connecting with your tribe, with your soul family, with people who are on the same page as you. That's the best way you can use your energy right now, in my opinion. And not be discouraged by the things that you see online. Because this is another thing I wanted to talk about is like, it's hard to say, there's, I don't want to like put people in boxes, but like as far as like people that are again awakened and seeking truth, I don't know, it's hard to say like number wise how many people that is. I do feel like it is the majority, but whether it's the majority or not, I feel like it is critical mass. It is, if not already, it will reach a point of critical mass. And this group of people that are seeking truth, that are learning, that are being sovereign, that are connecting back to God's source within themselves and starting to connect with others that are doing the same. This is the most powerful group, hands down. Hands down. So, whether it's the majority or not, this is the most powerful group, hands down. End of story. Because I already told you, all of this evil, all of their power is through parasitic manipulation. So that's why this group of people, us, we are the true like rebellion. And not only that, but this is another thing I kind of wanted to say, just being candid. We are the most feared group. You could say but like according to like this matrix in these old structures of power, that's why they hate us so much. And I'm not trying to be dramatic, but that's just what I see. That's how it's coming out right now. Is like they really do hate us. It's just how it is. It's nothing personal, but they really hate us because we really are gonna be like their demise. So they literally, and that's what's starting to come out so blatantly. That's why I'm saying it like this, because I can really start, no bullshit. I can really start to see it very, very clearly. The amount of like hatred that these people have. And don't take it personally because that's just how they are. They hate everything. They're just consumed by hatred, you know? So don't take it personally, but do know that these things really, really, really don't like us at all. And they really either want to make us slaves or If we can't be slaves, they want to kill us. And why am I saying that? Again, I'm not trying to cause fear or just be dramatic, but I think it's important to know. I think it's important to understand the level of hatred that these things have. Not so that we're afraid or taking it personally, but because it's just like we just have to be aware of the reality that we're in. And I don't say that we should hate them. That's again the thing about what we're doing. The true revolutionaries, not this bullshit revolution, the real revolutionaries are, we have to literally be the greater person in every way, which also means understanding that these things hate our fucking guts, but it's really important that we don't hate them. But also, it's really important that we don't tolerate any of their manipulation or abuse or anything. Even, you got to understand that. Like, again, do no harm, take no shit. You don't want to hold that hatred in your heart for anyone or anything. It doesn't help you. It doesn't, ultimately, that's only going to hurt you. That's the sad reality. That's why we have to heal ourselves, because we can't hold this hatred, because that hatred is going to anchor you down into their reality. You don't want to carry that around. You really want to let that go. You really don't want to hate these things. But this is the thing. They hate us because like we are their demise. But we don't need to hate them because they are not our demise. Because we are children of God. We are innately powerful. These things can only hurt us when we let them. And that's the truth. That's the sovereign truth that we're all starting to realize. We are so powerful, like I said before, in case you missed it. When we stand in our power and face these things head on, these archons, they run shitless. They have nothing. They have nothing. You know what I mean? So if anything, don't hate them, feel sorry for them, you know, but not in a way where you're going to give your power away to them. You can't, that's what I'm trying to say. You don't want to hate these things at all. You don't even, if you can, we all have to work through these things within ourselves because we've all been, we all have a lot of trauma with these things. But, ultimately, you don't want to hate or even anger towards these things. You just want to see very clearly for what they are, you know? They're not worth your energy. They're not worth your hatred. They're not worth your sorrow. They're not worth your grief. You know what I mean? All these things are normal emotions we all feel. But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, it's like these things aren't, definitely not worth your hatred. Um, it's just, again, if anything, it's kind of pitiful, and that's how the best way to have compassion for these most evil entities, whether they're in human suits or not. I think the most beautiful thing we can do to have compassion for them is to not hate them. It is to fully forgive them, let it go. Don't hold that in your heart for the sake of you, for the sake of humanity. And understand too that that does not mean giving your power away. That does not mean letting them take advantage of you or others. That's not at all what I'm saying. I think that's clear. Again, do no harm, but take no shit. Because you don't want to have karma with these things either. You just want to come to this point of mastery where you're able to see it and understand what I'm saying and the depths of the density, um, and still, and be sovereign, not giving your power away. Because I think some people, when I say that, when I say have sympathy for these things, that doesn't mean let them manipulate you. That's not what that means at all. So I just want to make that really, really clear. That's not what sovereignty is. Again, that middle path, having love and compassion and understanding and wisdom and grace. But don't give them an inch. Never give them an inch. Never give them a millimeter, because they'll literally take it to the full out extent. You give them a millimeter, they'll take miles. So no, we are sovereign. We are children of God. Boom. So yeah, I think that's really everything I want to talk about. Thank you guys so much for being here. All my love to all of you. Thank you for your patience. I feel like I had a hard time delivering that message at first because it's just, I don't know, it really blows my mind. It really does. Yeah, Doberman's existence is so strange. It really is. And that's like, like they say, the more I see, the less I know. I feel that so hard because it's like, really, it's true. The more I learn how grand this whole thing is, the more I'm like, wow, I really don't know anything, you know. Um, Luckily, we do have our experiences and we are able to carve out a gnosis from our experiences. Um, but yeah, we do have truth. We have truth within us. We are connected to God. It's like they say, you are the ocean in a drop of water. You are the drop of water in the ocean. That's how we are with God's source. There is no separation. And that's really what this whole experience truly, coming back now into the light. We've gone to the shadows. I think we made that clear. But coming back now into the light, that's really the truth of what we're doing is we're reconnecting back with God's source. You know, everything is being revealed. So these negative, we're seeing these very extremities. We're seeing very extreme things. So it's like when we see these extremities, there's so much knowledge that we're able to gather and lessons that we're able to gather. So these, these entities that have rebelled from God, that are super insane and evil, it's like that's in a way, kind of also mirroring all of humanity, because that's why humanity fell in Atlantis in the very beginning of this fall from grace is the overall human decision to try to see what happens when you try to separate yourself from God. Doesn't go well, but I guess it's a hell of an experience. Literally, it's a hell of an experience. But we're at this point where we're coming back into the ascension. So truly, such a beautiful time to be here. I mean, really incredible, really mind blowing stuff, really exciting times. To me that's motivating. Again, it's exciting, it's activating, it's front row seats. Exactly, it really is front row seats. I mean, what more could you ask for than this experience with Earth? From what I've heard, what I've seen, this truly is one of the most magnificent points to be in the entire universe right now. So it really is a privilege. Doesn't mean it's easy. Um, like I was just sharing with you guys, I was just going through it for like 2 weeks straight. Again, I'm grateful. I feel like I'm enough of a veteran at this point where it doesn't make me discouraged or hopeless, because I know that it's a pass. It's gonna pass. It's a lesson. It's a blessing, and I'm still able to have. Again, I'm still. It's like again that it's that kind of challenge of being comfortable with the uncomfortable. And to me, I just want to devour that because I'm ready to evolve for myself and for humanity. It's the most worthwhile thing I can imagine. So even when I'm going through it, it doesn't always feel like that. And I want to be really authentic. This is a thing for me, and I encourage everyone. I think it's so powerful, kind of doing full circle, that we all be as authentic as we possibly can. um, because again, in this age of like AI, robotic, fakery nonsense, where they want to wrap everything up in this like pretty package, but actually it's lacking soul, it's lacking God's design, it's lacking authenticity, it's literally satanic. Our greatest act of rebellion is being ourselves, all of our uniqueness, all of our originality, all of our quirks. Who decided that these things were ugly? That's what I want to know. Like, who the hell decided that these things were ugly? Who? Was it me? I didn't get a notification. I think it was just the social engineering we've all been indoctrinated in slowly for decades. And even longer than that, really, but especially decades. When you look back at the subversion, it really does, not to get too fringe, but I think it's pretty reasonable to say, like, when you actually look back at how they've been indoctrinating people in this culture, it really feels like it's literally been like just lining people up for this fake AI transhumanism bullshit to make people into robots. No originality, no uniqueness, no differentness. Everything is generic. Everything is synthetic. Everything looks perfect. It sounds perfect, but it has no soul. It blows my mind, you guys. And don't under, because like that is such crazy mind control. It's literally beyond our fathoming. Like, we can see it and we can understand it, but for me personally, it's like a house of mirrors. It's like it's so inverted and looping. It's like beyond, it's like it's just wow. I think I've made my point here. So, yeah, just be who you are. Really ponder upon this. I'm so serious. I really hope that like you can take this to heart and understand, every single one of you, how beautiful you are, how special you are, how important you are. Your voice, your face, your body, your personality, your being, your soul, your spirit, your talents, your gifts, your quirks, your shortcomings, your weaknesses, all of it. You're whole, you're complete. Again, paradox, middle path. You're whole and complete. You're a divine child of God. You don't need to prove your worth ever, ever to anyone or anything. You already are inherently, infinitely worthy because you are a creation of God, period. That is such a simple truth that we have to remind ourselves again and again and again and again and again. Because, again, we've been talking about this for years, but as we continue to see the AI and the nefarious agenda of turning people into something that they're not, that's when we have to come back to this truth and see how powerful and important it really, really is. You know, when we're coming into this point where like there's literally gonna be there already is. I mean, it's if you look at the television, that's all you see is fucking robots. Whether you're speaking literally or metaphorically, it's all the same. It's all the same thing. It's all promoting the same agenda. It's all looking the same. It's all talking the same. It's insane. So the more you see that and you think, how can I rebel against that satanic mind control? Be who you are. Be quirky. Be weird. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need a perfect whatever. You don't need a perfect body. You don't need any of this stuff. You don't need perfect skin. And again, the middle path, like you are perfect as you are now. And we are always expanding. We are always striving. We are always ascending. There is nobility also in that at the same time. Knowing you are whole and complete and understanding, like not being a narcissist about it, but understanding you are a child of God, inherently we all are, and also understanding that we are evolving. There's nothing wrong with striving for a healthier body, a better voice, more beauty, more strength, things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, again, finding that middle path and understanding that, for sure. But gone are the days of looking to, like, I mean, we already know this, but like, just, I don't know, just the extent of the mind control, it's really, really being revealed, and it's going to continue to be really, really revealed as it's actually physically manifesting before us. It's trippy. Yeah, turn up the novelty. Exactly. Be original, be authentic, be unique. It's scary. I know it's scary. Trust me. I think for many of us, we're all used to being the black sheep. I've been the black sheep my entire life. Never, there's certain, most things I have no problem being a total weirdo. I don't care what people think about me. But again, being authentic, being real, being vulnerable, there are certain things though that I have been insecure about. And that's the areas for all of us that we have to watch out for, because that's where like the AI wants to creep in any way that it can and try to get you through your own insecurities that we all have. You know what I mean? We all have insecurities. So this is what I'm saying. You can continue to heal those insecurities. That's the best thing we can do. But also understand that there's nothing wrong with you. There's not even anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. All of this, everything. I mean, this is such a deep concept, whether it's from the internet and the AI and the social programming and the MK Ultra, and even the voices in your own head telling you you're not good enough, or telling you, you're not, whatever, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not beautiful enough. Literally, I just want to say, fuck all of that. Fuck all. I'm so passionate about this right now. If you can't feel it, I've always felt this way, but it's just, again, revealing itself so deeply and clearly to me right now. Fuck all of that so hard because it's literally such an illusion, and it's so detrimental to all of us. Like, we have to be who we are. God made us all unique for a reason. Our unique gifts are why we are here. So anytime this AI, whether it's in your head or whether it's something outside of you or whether it's another person or whether it's another thing, tries to tell you that you're not good enough in any way, literally fuck that. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? Again, staying humble, like, you don't want to be like totally like arrogant, But you know what I mean. You guys understand what I'm saying. Yeah, inspiring me to keep making your content. Please, 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 all of you, create. That's what we need. We need creations. It's not going to be comfortable. You know, even for me, I've been doing this for years, like I said, and it's still hard sometimes. Like, again, just being honest, just being real. Like, it can be hard sometimes because you think you don't realize it. A lot of it's subconscious sometimes, you know, a lot of it's subconscious sometimes. You think, oh, you know, well, I don't want people to think I'm this, or I don't want people to think I'm that. Who cares? I don't want people to cringe. Let them cringe. You know, I recently saw somebody say that, and I think that's like the motto right now. It's like, let them cringe. Let people cringe. Let people be completely cringed out by you. Who cares? Literally, who cares? Like, we have to be such fucking warriors, you guys. When our own originality is the greatest act of rebellion that we can have, when our own originality is literally being threatened from the inside out because people are trying to tell you that you're supposed to be a certain way or that you're supposed to please people. No, that's not at all why we're here. We're not here to please egos. We're on a mission to assist humanity. We are not here to please egos. We're here to be ourselves from our heart, no matter what. I know it's hard. You know, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard. It can be really, really hard. But you know what? Keep going. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Who cares what people think or don't think? It's not about that. You know, again, just you being who you are, whether one person sees it or a million people see it, it doesn't matter. That alone is reverberating into the universe, into the organic human soul that, hey, actually, it is safe to be who you are. That's what people, I feel like, need to know more than anything. People like don't feel safe being who they are. You know, again, just another example of this while I'm on this tirade. You know, I feel like YouTube is a good example. You know, I was just talking with my partner Alex about this. It's like, and there's like different reasons for why people put masks on. You know, maybe they're trying to make money, so they're just trying to do whatever they can in the most generic way that will reach the most people, so that they can get fame and money. But then on the other side, I think so many people are so insecure about who they are that they put on these masks. You know, on the other side of the spectrum, they're so insecure that if somebody were to attack them for being who they are, they're so afraid of that that they'll just put on these masks so that nobody can see them. But guess what? We need to see you. Like, I mean, like you need to be seen, you know, at your own rate, of course, but it's like because your gifts are literally that important. So just whatever you, I guess, like my point is, I know it's not easy all the time, but whatever you can start to do, this is the last thing I'll say. Because this is actually the biggest lesson I've been learning right now. Huge, 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 is to support yourself. You have to support yourself. No matter who you are, you know, I feel like, especially like, you know, as an artist, like I said, I'm creating this album. For me, creating this album is such a spiritual experience in of itself. If you're an artist in any way, you understand the process of making art, and life is an art. The process of making art is so intense. It's so beautiful. It's so full of pleasure. It's so full of pain. It's so full of inspiration. It's like it's a spiritual experience within itself. Um, where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought. mm, oh yeah. Okay. So anyone who, you know, I'm saying artists, but we're all artists of life. So whatever your artist is, exactly. Memes, music, art, construction, homemaking, whatever you do, even just your very life, how you are, how you dress, how you express yourself, how you talk, everything about it is literally a beautiful multidimensional piece of art. And but the reason I say artist is because this is like, I feel like this is a pretty, if you are an artist, you know, we are all artists. But if you are an artist, you understand the initiation that every single successful artist has to go through, where you have to believe in yourself so much. You have to believe in yourself so much. Otherwise, you're never going to make it as an artist. Um, you know, in other words, it's like again, it's like an initiation every artist has to go through, because when you're creating art, again, life isn't art, but when you're creating art, you're creating something from your heart, from your soul. It's a very vulnerable experience, and not everyone's going to like it. you know Not everyone is going to like it, but for those who do, for those who see you, that's really what it's all about. And you literally have to believe in yourself so much. And it's the same thing with who you are as a person. So that's been a big lesson for me right now, is learning to support yourself, and it's like you have to really support yourself, and then you can start to support others. Let's see if there's anything else on that note. Yeah, because there's so many people, there's so many of us. Again, I feel like it's part of that social engineering where we're really quick to, if our loved ones come to us with problems, we're really quick to give them all this love and support and compassion. But then when we have our own fears, our own problems, our own things come up within ourselves, many of us are programmed to just be like so cold, like, what's wrong with me? Why am I doing this? This is horrible, or whatever it is. For me, I've been learning again really, really strongly. It's like, it's like we have to be so loving with ourselves. We have to be so supportive with ourselves, with everything we're trying to create, nourishing ourselves, nourishing that inner child, because that's usually a big part of when this stuff comes up for us. It's usually that inner child that wasn't able to receive that support or receive that love. And so it's like we have to be able to do that for ourselves. Again, whatever you're creating, that's the last thing I'll say. You really have to believe in yourself. You can't look outside of you for external validation with anything. Because if you do that, again, you're just probably not going to make it. You have to have it for yourself first, and then that's when people really find their tribe. That's when people really find their flow, their gifts. And then it doesn't matter what anyone says or doesn't say or thinks or doesn't think. It doesn't matter anymore, because it's not about that. Again, okay, now definitely last time I'll say, because I just heard this recently, really beautiful interview with David Bowie, and he was talking about how normally when an artist caters to other people instead of their own self, that's when they produce their worst work. And I think that's a really wise and good point. And it's not, and then another thing he says in that same interview is, when you're creating as an artist, again, life is an art, you always kind of want to be, in the water, just past where your feet can touch. You don't want to just play it safe. You always want to go a little bit further than you think you're capable of, and then that's where the magic happens. I couldn't agree more with that. That's so beautiful. So I hope that inspires all of you, reminds you to really love and support yourself so much, because everything that makes you unique and special is literally your gifts, whatever that is. It's not something to be embarrassed about. It's something that I think all of us need to share as much as we possibly can going forward, because again, that's the greatest rebellion against the horrible, nasty conformity that we've been seeing, and we're starting to really see this horrible conformity. To me, that's like the grossest thing. Again, I'm Aquarius, so to me, conformity really is like the most horrible version of enslavement that I can imagine. So be weird, be you, be who you really are. That's why we're here. That's where your gifts are. That's why God has created you to be different. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone or anything ever. So, all of my love to you. Thank you so much, Luminal Mind, for that beautiful super chat. Thank you. Thank you. I know I was kind of just like going really hard there. So I didn't get the chance to tune into the chat too much, but I tried to look everything I can, and you guys are so on it. Like, everything is so synchronistic. Like, if I couldn't think of the word, I look over and somebody else said it. Or something. So thank you, Brett, Lucas. Thank you, Joe. Cherish the day. Yes, Art of Arts, Luminal Mind, of course. Living on the edge. Growth happens at the edges, the fringes, through the challenges. Exactly. Kelsey, beautiful. I love the stuff I've been seeing you post on Instagram. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for being here. CH Dante, the Dobermans, Joe Potter, Joe Piscopo. Hope I said that wrong. Jump back on. Chat Bricks. all of you. So much love to all of you. Love, I see you. Course Corp, I see you. Yeah. All right. Amanda, thank you. So much love to you. And I saw Ananda as well. You guys are so beautiful. I love you all so much. I hope you have a most beautiful, magical day. Lots of exciting things happening. Um, so, yeah, lots of really exciting things I've been working on that are about to be revealed very, very soon. So, stay tuned, including the Discord. Alex just walked in. I have to look more into that too. But we're making a Discord so we can actually have a community and start to build community and stay in touch, because that's what I've been talking about. It's like for us to start to come together. That's really, I think, one of the greatest places we could put our energy right now. Okay, so yeah, go be you. All my love to all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.